JBG Mutterficker,
die Crew, die dich wegbombte.
Aus komm, lass paar Mütter ficken.
Wurde ne Geschäfts-Rap-Genre.
Verkaufte niemand CDs.
Die kamen wie ne Armee
und haben G-Rap geprägt.
Wurden immer noch wie Wintersportler.
Schief ange...
Ich ließ die Kritiker stehen, sie fanden den Rap niveaulos.
Wir haben im Tech-Modus ihre Theorien widerlegt.
Den Markt hier wiederbelebt.
Mit JBG harte Arbeit, uns wurde nix in die...
Oh my goodness gracious.
That was Hillary Clinton laughing.
Along with 20th Century Fox and something else, and Scooby-Doo and some German rap. This is the intro to our show, everybody. Welcome to the Adorable Deplorables here on a beautiful, sort of beautiful, October 5th from Lakeland Community College. Today we're going to be talking about many things.
Many things.
Many great things, okay?
Great awesome things.
You know, the people that voted for me are great people. Okay.
We love them. They're huge.
I love Puerto Rico. Okay. Anyway, today, on a more serious note, we're going to talk about Las Vegas and what's been going on with that situation. As you all know, a massive shooting happened at the country music. There was a country music concert in Vegas, and I
think Jason Aldean was playing there.
Yeah, Jason Aldean was playing.
And some other big name guy. I'm not a country.
There was, I think, it was a mix of a lot of different artists.
The festival.
And yeah, like a festival. And 59 people are confirmed dead. Many more, over I think 500 plus, are in the hospital, injured in the hospital still. Prayers going out to them. But on a more serious note, well, not a more serious note, but a different note, Jimmy Kimmel decided that he was going to stray away from comedy the other day, and he was going to talk about the shooting. And this is what he had to say about gun control. Take a listen. Well, that's not it. We need to exit out of some tabs. All right, here we go.
Special good wishes to those watching from Las Vegas, where you know what happened on Sunday night. I'm not going to get deep into it again tonight. I said what I had to say last night, but I do want to say something to these nuts who spent most of the day today on television and online attacking those of us who think we need to do something about the fact that 59 innocent people were killed. They say it's inappropriate to be talking about it because it's too soon. Well, maybe it's too soon for you because deep down inside, you know, in your heart, you know you bear some responsibility for the fact that almost anyone can get any weapon they want. Now you want to cover yourself until the storm of outrage passes. You can go back to your dirty business as usual, but...
Okay, first of all, let's do a little debunking here.
Yes, let's do some debunking.
Some debunking for Jimmy Kimmel. So first of all, Jimmy Kimmel is incorrect. You cannot get almost any gun or weapon that you want. There are still strict gun laws. And not completely... There's no gun control, but there's not, like, complete laws getting whatever you want. First of all, fully automatics are not... legal.
No, they are not.
In the United States of America. So that's one thing.
You do have, I mean...
You can make it fully
can.
automatic.
I mean,
but you cannot purchase it already fully automatic.
You can get special permits, though. It has to go through the...
Yeah. There's already checks that people do on you when you purchase weapons. Okay? You cannot buy them from gun shows. That's a common misconception. You cannot just, let's just, here, we're going to give anyone, whoever comes to the gun show, we're just going to give you whatever you want. That's not how this works, okay? There's many different things, okay? So, getting into the more, let's listen more clips.
Here we are again in the aftermath of another terrible, inexplicable shocking and painful tragedy, this time in Las Vegas. There's probably no way to ever know why a human being would do something like this to concert.
So the people of Las Vegas.
See, my main problem with all of this is that before we get even more into it, when I watch late night things, okay, I watch Fallon, Colbert, even though he's left. I watch all these different guys. I watch Kimmel occasionally. I never watch Trevor Noah. I despise that man with a burning passion.
Very annoying.
But yeah. Okay. So here's my thing, okay? I love our chats right now. This is amazing. Can we take that as a threat?
Yes,
so
actually.
Here's my thing, okay?
Go on, Matt.
When it comes to late night hosts, okay? Late night shows are about comedy, okay? They're not politicians. If they want to be politicians, run for office. That's my main thing with all of it, okay? And, you know, I really do believe that when it comes to these sort of things, yes, they have a platform. They're given that platform, but it's not to be politicians, okay? Not on their shows, maybe in their own time, you know, maybe on social media, maybe doing certain other things. So, this is great. So, you know, and our chat right now, there's a certain person, I don't know who it is, probably not in college.
Maybe a professor.
Maybe a professor. That'd be cool. We could interview you. We could debate. Let's
Please,
do it.
Yeah, please.
Come on the show. We'll debate. You got to keep your show clean, though. And I know it's pretty hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We do it, but
So talking about, you know, celebrities, and
right.
Since the camera's on them, we should take everything they say for, you know, the word of God. Pat Sajak had a tweet out. He was like, okay, let me explain this again. We're celebs. We're wiser and more empathetic than you. We are famous. Please take our opinions more seriously.
And this is the guy from Wheel of Fortune. So this is the host of Wheel of Fortune. So my thing is, you know, believe whatever you want when it comes to this, but you got to get down to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is evil. It's not, you know, the weapon of choice that was used, or weapons, or many different things. Oh, now you're swearing on our chat. Bad boy. Bad. Or wait, do you identify as that, or I don't know. So
trigger warning, just in case if you're not aware.
Probably not the best thing to use, but I still think that, you know, get down to the root. The root is evil. The person that did this is a complete worthless person. Okay,
Very evil.
Terrible. That's the problem. You can do what he did many different ways, and the problem is the man himself. Very, you know, wishy-washy topic. You know, a lot of people will get offended. That's fine. Get offended, you know, believe what you want. That's why we live in this free country. Remember, the people that gave us that right defend us with weapons. So I just believe that you got to get down to the core of the problem. Like I said, it is evil. Pure evil what this man did. It just doesn't make sense to me. The man was 64 with no mental issues. My first thought was, I heard his age and I thought, you know, maybe a vet that had PTSD. Heard something coming from outside and, you know...
and there was an interview with his brother. He said he was an extremely smart man.
Yeah, the guy made a good living off of real estate, which is also a reason to say, wow, you know, I don't see why this guy would do this. That's why I think there needs to be more investigation into it. So just get down to it again. It is evil. It is terrible what this person did. That's the main thing. You have to argue not with what he did the act with, but why he did the act. And the reason is evil. Pure evil. Not religious evil, not talking about the devil here, not talking about any sort of religious aspect, talking about pure evil. Horror. And it's just a shame that someone decided that this was how they were going to spend their night. Innocent victims, you just can't, it's hard to think about. I know a few people that were in Vegas this last week, not at the concert, but they were there. And the first thing I thought of was, I got to find out if they're okay. Did they walk outside? Did they decide to head over, buy tickets last minute? You know, you don't know.
When, where, why?
You don't know, yeah. Let's get into what... so Jimmy Kimmel basically used his platform as a comedian to talk about this. Emotionally talk about this. And he's done this with healthcare. He's done this with many issues. He's... You know, he can be funny at times, but that's what he gets hired to do. That's why he gets paid, to be a comedian.
What I see with this, he's totally using this platform to promote whatever the obvious agenda that he has, and I think it's really sick, and he's calling out people that actually care about situations, that actually care about what the facts are, what the evidence, the motives for things, and right. he just totally trashes them. Which is just a gross thing to do.
See, and it's also... what was I going to get at here? It's the sense that someone who is, like I said, paid to do comedy and uses it as a political platform, that just... The ratings go down. Mm-hmm. Because people, even though your studio audience, who you pay to clap for you whenever you turn on the clap sign, okay... Applause. Yay, I said something smart. No, you didn't. Okay. What I want to play right now, go to Louder with Crowder, and he debunked the entire argument of Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to take a break. When we come back, please message us in the chat like some glorious human beings are doing right now. We'll be right back. So here's what Steven Crowder was talking about on Louder with Crowder yesterday. I saw this late last night when I couldn't sleep, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this. Here's what he said about Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel was #1 trend on YouTube, social media today. I'm starting to realize the trending list is not so much about what's trending, but what YouTube wants to be trending. Before I move on, because we'll talk about Jimmy Kimmel's grandstanding and, of course, just the litany of factual errors. Question of the day. Are you still able to watch late night. Usually I'm able to separate the art from the artist. We've talked about that. But at what point is it too much? At what point does propagandizing become so blatant that you just have to tune out? It's become really hard. And I was the biggest Conan fan. Yeah. Huge Conan fan. I can't watch it. Jimmy Kimmel went up, and of course this is the rule rather than the exception, crying, talking about the Las Vegas shooting. And listen, this is, first off, let's address a tragedy. Absolutely, I think that every side, both the left and the right, care about lives lost. We just have different solutions, and of course I believe that one side is more informed on what are actually pragmatic solutions versus the other. But let's walk through Jimmy Kimmel's recent #1 trending diatribe.
Of course, we pray for the victims and for their families and friends, and we wonder why, even though there's probably no way to ever know why a human being would do something like this to other human beings who are at a concert.
This is important because it sets it up. It's a really simple answer why. It's called evil. Yeah. It's something the left refuses to acknowledge exists, because at that point, then all of a sudden the situational ethics, they no longer function. You need to have a base of some kind of principle. Listen, it's horrible. It doesn't mean that you have to comprehend evil on an empathetic level. It is horrible. It should be absolutely disgusting, but it's not a complex question. Why would someone do it? Evil. What led them to that evil? Well, then we'll get to that. And what allowed them to commit that act of evil, and what's the best way to curb it moving forward? That's the discussion we should be having. Let's move on.
There are a lot of things we can do about it, but we don't, which is interesting, because when someone with a beard attacks us, we tap phones, we invoke travel bans, we build walls, we take every possible precaution to make sure it doesn't happen again. But when an American buys a gun and kills other Americans, then there's nothing we can do about that. And Second Amendment, I guess, our forefathers wanted us to have AK-47s, is the argument, I assume.
Now, I don't know if Chuck Schumer's writing this one for him as well as what happened with the healthcare issue, but Second Amendment, founding fathers. Just because you act as though it's absurd doesn't make it absurd. Our founders wanted to have just a few things we'll list off here that he was wrong about. AK-47s, that's an easy one. Just go and watch one of our previous videos. It's a Second Amendment for muskets only. Not only if you understand the wording and the history of the Second Amendment, did it, of course, apply to modern-day weaponry, but even back then, there was the puckle gun, the Girandoni air rifle. There was actually a letter written of marque and reprisal to a private ship. They were allowing them to personally have cannons. It was written as, well, of course you can have cannons. You have the right to protect your ship. Do it. The idea that it was only relegated to muskets is so quickly and thoroughly debunked that we've done it. We won't waste a ton of time on it here. Then he goes on to say, if a person with a beard. Let's be honest about what he's talking about here. He means a brown person with a beard. This is the whole identity politics, as though if it's a Muslim, we care, but if it's a white person, we don't care. Okay, let's go with that. I'll admit to a certain degree of that. Why? Because of a consistent pattern of behavior based on ideology. An outlier is just that, an outlier. But if you can actually look at a correlation between people who follow a very specific, a political prescription as well as a religion, as we do with Islam, guess what? It should be relevant, because that comes to the discussion. Can we do something about it? So let's go to why someone might think someone with a beard could be a little bit different than just the random white guy who's out of his mind, or white supremacist who the left loves to scream about. Okay, this is one thing that's important because I saw this at Vox. I call this the 9/11 fallacy, where the quote is, since 9/11, 106 people have been killed by far-right violent extremists in the U.S. 119 have been killed by Islamists. So it seems comparable. Now, if you include one day earlier, 9/11, it puts a number over 3,100. Some would say significant.
Some might say
So, you kind of got to look at the facts, right? I mean, the problem is what we were talking about, what Shapiro was talking about, Ben Shapiro was talking about last week when we talked about what he said with Prager University. And he was talking about that issue at Vanderbilt University. Mm-hmm. So he was talking about the issue where facts don't care about your feelings. And that's this argument that is completely obvious right now. You can see that immediately emotions, right? Everybody gets emotional after something like this. That's human nature. But in order to fix the problem, you need to not be emotional about it. You need to grieve and then factually come up with solutions based off of facts. You know, I mean, that's the only way to do it. If you do it based on emotion, everything goes wrong. And then pretty soon, you're going to be hurting the people that are actually good people that own guns, that have CCWs, that are able to protect themselves if someone breaks into their house. That's the issue here. Because emotions are what drives people to do uncanny things. Probably what, drove this man to do what he did. He got emotional. Something triggered him to do what he did. And, it's just unacceptable. That's why you got to go based off of facts. So Steven Crowder was talking about many different things in that, starting with the Second Amendment, with muskets and the cannons for the ship. The common denominator in all that is protection, right? The Second Amendment basically meant to protect yourself, or have the right to militia in the sense of the government coming after you or someone coming after you, breaking into your home, doing whatever the necessary risks it is you need to take, whatever you need to take to protect yourself. That's the point of it, okay? So when you talk about protection, you still have the right to own something that can protect you. Now, the way you use it for protection or for hunting or for whatever that may be...
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Just like having a spatula is a tool, okay? If you decide to beat someone in your house with a spatula, that is a weapon then, okay? But it doesn't break the fact that it's still a spatula. It's still used immediately or originally for cooking. You can't just say, well, they use this, so let's, ban that, okay? People drive cars every day, get in accidents. You go with, okay, let's ban cars. Well, why did they, get in that accident? They were drunk. Let's ban alcohol. Let's ban, he was, trying to find his lighter. He was going to smoke a cigarette. Let's ban cigarettes and lighters. See what I'm getting at? It's a slippery slope. It's the kind of thing where you just look back. If I accidentally trip you, you hit your head and pass away, let's ban shoes. I mean, that's what this is, okay? That's the point, is it's not the tool, it's the person. Everybody says guns don't kill people, people kill people. It's true. Evil kills people. Why people are evil, that's another discussion.
Greed, selfishness.
Right. A 64-year-old man does this. Why? There's no answer to that yet. Maybe we'll find an answer. Maybe someone will lie to us about an answer just so that we look the other way.
Could be tomorrow. Could be next week.
Yeah, you never know.
It's a complex issue. It's a very complex issue. There is no black or white answer.
Right. It's a hard issue to talk about because, like I said, people get offended. And like we had someone earlier in the chat and just ripping us, based off of our political views. Well, that's our views. That's our solution. Again, the left and the right, the middle, everyone in between has a solution. It's just what's better for the people, in our opinion, is, don't ban guns. Don't get rid of the option to protect yourself.
Because the only way to stop somebody with a gun is with a gun.
Yeah. The only way to, unless you know some crazy jujitsu and want to, go crazy on them and take it out of
with their teeth.
Yeah, that's it, you fight fire with fire, you get a bigger fire, but that's not true in this case. You know what I mean? It's kind of like...
And it's funny how
it's just sad to see how people go right to this solution.
Exactly. It's funny how people like Jimmy Kimmel and other prominent leftist figures and politicians that advocate against the right to own a firearm. But these people, the events that they go to, they're either protected by the police, they're protected by guards, and they're armed.
Yeah. I just say, like, Shapiro was on Twitter, and he messaged someone that was talking about, if anyone does this with a knife, then we'll talk about banning knives, but until then, it's always been guns, so let's ban guns. And Shapiro said, well, someone ran over and killed 80 people with a truck. So should we ban trucks? It's just that. Get that through your head, okay?
Look what happens in Europe. I don't think any European country you're allowed to carry your own firearm, and there's people with vans running over each other. We had this situation in England where the was it one or two assailants running people over with the van and then jumped out and started stabbing everyone. and pressure cooker bombs, any homemade thing to do as much damage as possible.
Right.
You don't need a gun. There's other alternatives.
Right. I mean, by the way, this person's wrong. I'm not a Republican. I'm a liberal. No, I'm not a liberal. I'm a libertarian that leans right. Okay, there's a big difference, dude. Or woman, or pig, whatever you want to be. Pennywise. I just think you have to look at it from a non-emotional issue. It's very hard to do. Extremely. But that's how you come up with solutions. Facts are not feelings. Feelings will get you nowhere. Facts get you somewhere.
Let's look at attorneys. I'm sure if we've all seen like some kind of attorney move film or show.
Right.
The difference about them is that they totally think and analyze in a totally different way.
Right.
And they do this is because on how they were educated in law school, how they need all the facts and how they're going to just present the facts and debate the facts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough because immediately people from the left tweeted about this right after it happened. Within an hour of it happening, Hillary, gorgeous Hillary, tweeted immediately and started taking it to a political standpoint. And it's just like, immediately right after this happens, you go political with it? Come on. All right, this is Shapiro's look on it.
Do you feel like they're complicit, the GOP, the NRA, in the gun epidemic we're seeing in America?
Of course they are. Of course they are. The Brady bill actually kept 2 million guns out of the hands of people who weren't supposed to have them. If we had gone forward with the background check capacity that we should have had and that it was up to date, my gosh, we computerize everything and we can't computerize that. Mm-hmm. Dylan Roof was never supposed to get that gun that he used to kill people at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston because he had a pre-existing arrest that should have disqualified him. But the system, is deliberately kept all creaky and slow. This is beyond absurd. This is evil. Mm-hmm. This is nothing but pure, unadulterated greed motivated by people who want to sell as many guns as they can to engage in a falsity of fear and rhetoric about why everybody has to have guns.
Okay, what absolute nonsense. So everybody who wants to be able to buy guns legally, these are the people who are the problem, and people are deliberately keeping the system leaky. Okay, so here's the background on Dylan Roof, just so that you have the factual background. According to the New York Times, despite having previously admitted to drug possession, Dylan Roof was allowed to buy a .45 caliber handgun because of mistakes by FBI agents, a failure by local prosecutors to respond to a bureau request for more information about his case, and a weakness in federal gun laws. So what happened? Apparently, the authorities' inability to prevent Roof from obtaining the weapon highlighted the continuing background check system problem, which was intended to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Despite new procedures and billions of dollars, the federal authorities still do not have a seamless way of examining Americans' criminal histories that eliminates human error. Okay, do you think that Republicans don't want to eliminate human error? Democrats were in charge of the government for a huge percentage of the time, right? Barack Obama was president when all of this happened. He could help facilitate this. It's his FBI. Right, but somehow this is Republicans' fault, right? They're evil. They want people to shoot people so that they can sell more guns. If you really believe that, you don't know any gun owners and you don't know any Republicans. The Democrats, though, are starting to really, I think, reveal what they think about gun owners and what they think about guns, which is refreshing.
Yeah, basically just... You can't make... Again, that's the stereotype, right? Stereotyping that all Republicans just want guns to be legal for whatever. Okay. No, we want to fix the problem, but we have just a different way of looking at it. Okay. Mm-hmm. It seems kind of logical, right? Okay, so if this kind of thing happens, if a shooting happens, we'll fix the problem, get rid of all guns. Well, that doesn't work. Okay. Getting rid of something doesn't work. There's plenty of laws on drugs, but drugs are still everywhere. Okay, they're everywhere. Can get them in 5 minutes. I'm sure you could call some people in the school and they will tell you where to get them. Okay, that's the problem. The more you say this is not okay, we're going to pass laws against it so that people cannot get it, is the fact that the people that sell it go, oh, I'll give it to you. I don't care. I'm making money off of it.
People do that.
Or it can be regulated, and it can be in a shop where you can get it, where you're paying a lot of money. It's not $5. We're not buying a Big Mac here, okay? We're going to a store where people sell it for the use of protection, for the use of going to go to the gun store and going to the range and practicing, so that not so you can go and do something evil and terrible, so you can protect your household. When someone comes in with a more powerful weapon than you and they wish harm on your family, you can protect yourself. Unless, that's only Texas where they can do that. Here, you got to have like real good cause for doing that. And that's a shame. It's a shame you can't really protect yourself. At least in Ohio, I know that for sure. I know there was an instance in Texas where this man he lived next to an elderly couple. And every day he got up early in the morning, about 5, probably about 4:30, to go to work. He had to leave at 5. And one morning, he was leaving at about 5 a.m., and he saw someone breaking into his neighbor's house. Now, they were elderly. Remember, they couldn't protect themselves. They didn't have any weapons. So he went over and shot the guy and, was fine. Let off easy, protecting. He was actually looked as a hero, kind of. Here, someone I know went to the flats and got mugged by 5 people. And they had a knife on them. And what happened was he retaliated with his hand, okay, grabbed the knife and started fighting back. Ended up killing 2 of them. And he was attacked first, remember that. Well, he got charged with murder. And the only thing that got him off of that was the fact that he had a lot of scars on his hands from trying to grab the knife originally from the muggers. The laws are messed up.
They are.
It's becoming illegal to protect yourself.
Get this. I work at a Walgreens. It's considered a gun-free zone.
Okay.
Should somebody come into the store and try to rob or threaten someone, and there would be somebody else in the checkout line that has
right.
that legally has, like, let's say, a concealed carry. If that individual would put his gun to that person and hold them until the police come, guess who gets in trouble? The person with this concealed carry, because he had a gun in a gun-free zone, even though the other person that illegally brought in illegal intentions wanted to rob the store or threaten somebody.
Right. And what's funny is we're an open carry state. Really? We're open carry in like some places, but because we say we're open carry in some places, we just say basically everywhere. But when you go to certain places and they say no, then you can't bring it in or else you'll get arrested. So that doesn't mean open carry, that means limitation. Well, yeah, but no.
Here at Walgreens in Ashtabula, the beautiful downtown Ashtabula, we have a lot of theft issues.
Yeah.
If every employee were to open carry, I guaranteed that there would be no more theft in the store.
Right. But it's the fact that, oh wait, people can protect things now? Oh no. Like, seriously. I mean, you got to put 2 and 2 together here. It's just logical. It doesn't seem great like, oh, now we're going to arm everyone, but it's for protection purposes, okay? Again.
Not everybody, like politicians or leftist Hollywood elites, can afford protection for them.
Yeah, you see that with, never mind. So I just believe it's more of the issue of why it happened, okay? The guy was a bad person, a horrible human being. Okay, that's it. It's not why, it's not what he did it with, it's not where he did it, it's that it happened, and this is what we're talking about now. An evil person committing an evil act.
Mm-hmm.
The leftists have to stop this. They have to stop saying, we know the solution, get rid of everything. Because pretty soon, when someone gets hurt with a garbage can, we're going to get rid of garbage can companies. We're going to make sure now you have to burn your garbage at your house. There has to be, that's just how this works. Okay?
Here's a short little article by Charles Cook. It was
this is the Washington Post.
Yeah, this is on the Washington Post. This is in the opinions page, and it's a short reading, but let's just take a look at it. So he starts off by, when debating the wisdom of the Constitution's Second Amendment, the media tends to start from the presumption that the question is purely scientific and the answers can and should be derived from statistical analysis and relentless experimentation. This approach is mistaken. The right of the people and to keep and to bear arms is not the product of the latest research fads or exquisitely tortured data journalism, but a natural extension of Lockean principles on which this country is founded, and it must be protected as such. The Declaration of Independence presumes that all men enjoy certain inalienable rights, among them life and liberty. Practically speaking, at both the state level as a bulwark against tyranny, and the individual level as means by which to protect oneself, this necessitates the auxiliary right to the private ownership of arms, which in the common law that preceded the Second Amendment was understood to include personal weapons that could be wielded by an individual, such as a musket and a bayonet, saber, Hollister pistols, and carbine, and sundry sidearms. At the time of the American founding, it was widely understood that there was a real danger in a government's attempt to deprive the people of what Alexander Hamilton called their original right to self-defense. This is why, when it came to writing the Constitution, the anti-federalists, who feared the government's potential to become corrupt, refused to sign on a more powerful national government until they had been promised certain explicit protections. Then, as now, their logic was clear. It makes no sense to allow the representatives of a free people to disarm their masters, and their masters were the legislators in Congress. Reenacting this argument, we often hear advocates of gun control propose that the founders' observations are irrelevant because they could have not imagined the modern world. I agree with the latter assertion. They couldn't have. As well read in world history as they were, there is no way that they could have foreseen just how the harsh limitations of government power in their time. Tyranny was comparatively soft. Their complaints focused on underrepresentation and capricious restriction on ancient rights. In the past century, by contrast, tyranny involved in the systematic execution of entire groups and the enslavement of world countries. The notion that if James Madison had foreseen the 20th century, he would have concluded that the Bill of Rights was too generous is laughable. Nor could the founders have imagined the entrenched tyrant that would arise in their own country. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, and company were hypocrites, certainly. Like so many at the time, they spoke of equality and liberty, while indulging slavery. But the generation that met at Philadelphia did at least consider that the institution would die out peacefully. Instead, it was abolished only by a bloody force that transmuted into something as abhorrent.
So, just thinking about that, you have to see that, there was no way that they could have thought about what was going to happen now. The whole point, again, is protection. Protection is, you need to protect yourself. I would argue with anyone that believes that they think guns should be illegal, and then they get into a time where they have to protect themselves. Don't use your hands. You don't want to protect yourself. You don't want any protection at all. Don't use your hands. Let them go. Let them go after you, right? No, that's not how this works. You need to protect yourself. That's why guns are legal.
That's the philosophy at a lot of retail stores. If someone is stealing something,
let them take it.
Let them take it. Just let them take it. That's what loss control is. That's what insurance is for.
Don't fight back. Just let people, just let them use you as a punching bag. I mean, come on, really? I'm sick of that argument. We'll be right back here on the adorable Deplorables.
Call or text into 440-940-6615 to request songs.
It's a local music spotlight here on Lake Effect Radio, the Mason District, Charlotte.
I'm watching you, and I like the way, I like the way you move. Charlotte, now I'm overdue. I'm on the hunt, I'm afraid on you. But you got me, I'm stuck on you. You got me, could I be your king? And anything you want, no, I could be. We're dancing now, dancing in the street. I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna take my time when we meet. But you got me, I'm stuck on you. You got me, I'm overdue. You got me, I'm stuck on you. You got me, and I'm overdue. I try to get on hold of you, but time won't let me in. No, time won't let me in. By the time I get to you, you won't let me in. No, you won't let me in. Now hold on now, hold on now, hold on now. I've been all thinking about you, woman now.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Got to turn off Panic at the Disco, Hallelujah. I don't know why that song's in there.
Stand up, sing hallelujah, hallelujah.
Oh, gosh. We should start a barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, it's raining. All right, anyway, so, Josh, you wanted to discuss someone talking about, in our chat today,
All right,
one of our great listeners talking about how Donald Trump is a Nazi.
I just want to debunk this whole Nazi thing. So, Hitler was actually first elected as a chancellor. He was in the German Workers' Party. That February 1920 became the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which they later shortened the Nazi. All right. It was socialist, anti-Semitist, anti-capitalist. I don't see Trump as a socialist, anti-Semitist, and anti-capitalist.
I mean, Ivanka married Jared Kushner, and he's Jewish.
That's
and she's gone to
that was like the whole basis of the Nazi party.
She's gone to Israel with Kushner.
Nationalist socialist.
Like,
even in Germany today, that there is the NDP party, which is pretty much the same. They're nationalist socialist, anti-Semitist, anti-immigration.
Throw Green Party in there too, why would you?
Exactly.
You know, I love when people try to make that connection. It's just my thing is with Donald Trump is that he speaks on things that are on everyone's mind that people are too afraid to say themselves. Okay? That's why he claims, and he is, the voice of the silent majority. He's the type of person that when you have something to say, it's the truth, but it may offend somebody, hurt someone's feelings, so you don't say it. That's the voice that he is. As much as leftists don't want to believe, the things that he says, the claims that he makes, the facts that he show are true. It's true what's going on in America today. It's sad. But the issue, again, is the left addresses everything he does with emotions, and he addresses things, well, the Republican Party addresses things with facts. Not everyone in the Republican Party is good. I mean, you look at Ted Cruz and Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio.
I despise Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan. I do not like them.
Paul Ryan, oh my goodness gracious.
That's a whole nother show.
I mean, that for all the leftists that want to watch this show and want to, dog the Republican Party, we could do that one show. We really could, because, again, I'm a libertarian. I know you are, too, correct?
Constitutional conservative.
Yeah. So, we could talk about Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan and Rubio. Little Marco, trade the swap. You could also talk about Jeb Bush and the snake Ted Cruz, and we could talk about
the Zodiac
Kasich.
Killer.
Yeah, and just all these different politicians. At the end of the day, they're all politicians. Mm-hmm. They all have pockets to fill. They all have agendas, personal agendas, and agendas for their parties. They're not trying, really. Third party is the way to go. I mean,
it just appalls me how low Congress's approval rating, but yet we elect the same people there every election.
Every time. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter.
Like, how long was Maxine Waters in Congress?
It doesn't matter. It seriously doesn't matter. They're all crooks at the end of the day. I was talking to family members, and they wanted me to explain what I meant about that. And I said, you don't think at the end of the day Paul Ryan and Chuck Schumer go out to the bar and just talk about life and hang out? You don't think they have other things that they do outside of work? You can disagree with your employees, but still go out at the end of the night. People from here may not like each other, but they go hang out at Malarkey's on Wednesday nights, and do whatever. So, don't think that they're all great. And we'll get into that next week. But as of for today, the Second Amendment is protected The Second Amendment is strong. It's an amendment. We're not going to change that. We're not going to fix it. There's nothing to be fixed.
It's number 2 for a reason.
It's yeah. I mean, but
history has proven that democratic governments have become tyrannical, like Nazi Germany. They elected Adolf Hitler as a chancellor, and because these people did not have the right to protect themselves, that's why umpteen million people are now ashes in Europe.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's horrible. You can't deny that. They couldn't protect themselves, and so when they were attacked, they had no choice.
God forbid that something like that would happen in this country. It might not happen in the next 50 years. It might not happen in the next 100 years, but there is a possibility.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter who's in office when that happens. Just know that the president, any president, Democrat or Republican, Green Party, you name it, Socialist Party, whoever gets elected, they really don't have a crazy amount of powers like a lot of young leftists believe. They don't do their research, so then they just say, well, he's basically a dictator. No, he doesn't have that much power. He can't do that.
That's why we have 3 branches.
Yeah, three branches of government to make sure that we don't have a Nazi Germany. Facts, not feelings. Anything else you want to address today?
We're
all good?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna leave you with some Scooby-Doo and Hillary Clinton laughing. We'll be back next week. See you guys. This is the Adorable Deplorables for Matt Bossman
and Joshua Walker. Thanks for tuning in.
Keep it classy, Lakeland. Thanks for tuning in. Also to that person that
threatened us.
Basically, in our chat, come on the show. We'll debate. Your opinion's valuable.
Send us your email address.
Yeah. And phone number. Let's talk. Let's make it work.
Let's talk policy.
Let's talk policy and let's talk lawyers. We'll be back next week. See ya.